friends and colleagues, it's time. It's that bittersweet time that we say goodbye to all of the friends that we've made and all the ones that we've been seeing over the years, but we also go back to our families and our loved ones. As we start this closing ceremony, I'd like to acknowledge once again that we meet on the unceded lands of the Yagara and Turrbal peoples. They have always been making discoveries, sharing knowledge, and making friendships as we have been over the past few years. And we are indeed privileged to be here. So as our OHBM Brisbane meeting draws to a close, I invite you to reflect with me on the past few days spent around Maiwa. Maiwa is the traditional indigenous name of the Brisbane River. It is time to show gratitude to each other for our science and for the friendship. On behalf of the whole community, I'd like to thank firstly all members of council and particularly our chair, Sylvain Bayet, for his leadership and commitment to our community. So those of you in council, please stand up. I'd like everyone to give you a round of applause. Thank you also to the program committee for your hard work and joining the many meetings at the most crazy times of the day and night to do the impossible task of making everyone happy. Those of you in program committee, please stand up and let's give everyone a round of applause. Thank you also to the Education Committee and Jean Chen's leadership for putting together an excellent and really didactical program. Again, those of you here today, please stand up and let's give you a round of applause. Also, thank you to the local organizing committee, Lena and Michael, for as the co-chairs for enhancing our experience at Brisbane, also affectionately known by Australians as Bris Vegas. Please stand up. I can't see, but I hope you feel recognized. And also, we've made it. Thank you to our sponsors, our exhibitors. It would, of course, not be possible to be here and have this meeting without your support, and we really, really acknowledge and thank you for that. We are very grateful. If you are here, please stand up. A big shout out to the executive team, Beth, Emily, and Katie, who stay behind the scenes all the time, but they do make the world go round, and I really appreciate you. So thank you to all the attendees for your science and for showing up. I am especially grateful to those who have taken long hauls and the many layovers and to get to this meeting and contributed to it so positively despite the jet lag. As someone based in Australia, I know how you feel. I know it because I do it every year to see you, and it's always worth it. So that was the easy part of my talk. The next part is the hardest because I'm supposed to do the highlights of the meeting, and it is close to impossible to do a good job of it because A, there's much more high quality science than I have time to highlight. I can't be, that was A. B, I can't be in multiple sessions, more specifically 4 different rooms at any point in time. So I have missed out on a lot. So if I don't highlight your work, please accept my apologies. And finally, C, as much as I would have liked to be unbiased, I'm not, and none of us really is. So on that note, here is my bias, or if you like, my conflict of interest disclosures. There's 3. I was born a scientist in the home of SPM in 2004. I was born a human a bit before that, but I won't tell you that. SPM turned 30 this year, and as a gift to our community, they made SPM Python, allowing us to use all the awesome SPM tools without the MATLAB nuisance. So thank you, you're amazing, and I love you. My second disclosure is that I did my PhD under Carl Fristen's supervision, and I have contributed to the development of DCM. So I was really fascinated to see an application of DCM showing that forward connections from the insula to the ACC correlate with heart rate. This is also a beautiful example of brain-body interactions and the use of naturalistic stimuli, which was a recurrent theme in this meeting. My third disclosure is that I am the director of Australia's first and only OPMEG system. So I was really excited to see the power of field line head scan source reconstruction and its impact in epilepsy. I was equally excited to see Circus development putting OPMs on a backpack, enabling more naturalistic experiments. So that was the end of my disclosures. So let me tell you other things that I've learned. So I've learned a few new words. The first one is matrescence. So matrescence is like adolescence, but for mums. And as a mother of 2 gorgeous sons, I was quite alarmed to learn about the grey matter volume reductions that occur during matrescence. Winnie reassured me, however, that just like after synaptic pruning during adolescence, these changes are often later followed by better cognitive performance in certain tasks. Transformers. I was excited to learn that Transformers are more than just animated cartoons, but really powerful AI tools for neuroimaging. Artificial consciousness. This one I actually knew about, but I was pleased to hear from Melanie that artificial consciousness is not like human consciousness. That made me wonder, however, if we were ever to find out that human and artificial consciousness were the same thing, according to some definition of what it means to be conscious, whatever that might be, then would that really be the definition of consciousness that we should care about? Deadly. I learned that for Indigenous people, deadly means awesome, rather than some kind of generic name for all the animals that can kill you in Australia. I also learned about the Deadly Imaging Project and the wonderful ways in which we all could be co-designing our research with our consumers, our patients, and our communities. Glucodynamics. So I learned that glucodynamics uses functional PET to measure time-varying glucose uptake that may outperform fMRI for prediction of cognition. And I'm really, really excited about this technique. I also learned about neurobagel. That is more than just those delicious things that you have with cream cheese. It is a powerful tool for data finding and sharing and sharing across the globe. So thank you. I also learned about new imaging modalities, like wearable diffuse optical imaging that enables naturalistic experiments with great spatial resolution, and I can't wait to see where this leads us. I learned about whole brain 3D spectroscopy. Whoop. Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah, that's it. And how that can be combined with diffusion imaging to do metabolic connectomics. So that's really, really exciting. So hosting OHBM in Brisbane is, for me, like bringing home to home. OHBM in Australia both feel like home to me. And as Lucina once put it, OHBM is like family reunions without the drama. This year, I'm delighted to report that we have ascended to family in every sense of the word. So before I announce this year's People's Poster Award, I want to end by saying that as I was worrying about what to say today, I realized that in a year's time, chances are no one will remember it anyway. So let me tell you what I think you might remember. Place and people. The beautiful Maira River views, the koalas, the kangaroos, and the fact that wombats poop in cubes. I think they poop in voxels. It is true. You will remember that OHBM has its values in the right places. Equity matters. I know I'll remember that Daniel kindly saw my lanyard so that my name wouldn't dangle around awkward places. Kindness matters. I will remember that Hiromasa was too kind and polite to run faster than me, even though I'm the slowest runner on the planet. You'll remember the friendships, those who you have just met, and those who you've known for more than 20 years. Treasure that. So to end, I'll say that for all of these reasons, I believe we come to OHBM for the science and the brain, but we stay for the friendship in our hearts. Thank you. All right, so this is the moment everybody was waiting. It is my great honor to announce the People's Choice Award for the best poster. And apologies if I say your name wrong. Ji Hao Tang, Tao Chen, Ki Nu Nyo Zin, Murian Irish, I know that one. Chen Yu Wang, thank you and congratulations. That's all from me, folks. It's been a pleasure to serve you as program chair, and I look forward to seeing you in Bordeaux. So now I will call to the stage to announce the Brain Art competition results, Olga Burkrina.
Good afternoon. One of the goals of the Brain Arts Special Interest Group is to foster creativity and to make brain research more accessible, inclusive, and engaging. I'm honored to present the highlights of this year's Brain Arts SIG activities and the results of the 2025 Brain Art competition. This year's exhibition explored the theme Flavors of Reality, inviting artists to reflect on how we perceive, construct, and reimagine reality in neuroscience and in art. Out of nearly 30 international proposals, 14 artworks were selected by the Brain Arts SIG for the curated exhibition. In addition to the exhibition, we hosted our first artist meet and greet roundtable, where attendees had a chance to hear directly from the creators about their inspirations, methods, and the neuroscience behind their art. We also engaged the next generation of brain mappers with kids' art activities and a special collaborative event with the Diversity and Inclusivity Committee called Brain Mappers of Tomorrow, bringing neuroscience and creativity to children and families in the OHBM community. Our 2025 Brain Art competition received nearly 30 submissions across 4 categories: flavors of reality, aligning with this year's theme, still images, video, and open science creations, or art created using open data sets and tools. Each category had 2 winners chosen by a jury of voters and through a popular public vote, so thank you all for voting. This year's competition winners, according to the jury vote, are, for Flavors of Reality, Corpus by Lauren Baldwin. For still images, we had 2 winners with equal number of votes: The Illuminated Hippocampus by Christy Lee Smith and Serotonin Syndrome by Sam Krakowski. For videos, the winner was The Glass Menagerie by Dmitry Kamel. And for open science creations, Burger Mandalas by Alberto Arturo Vergani. This year's competition winners, according to the popular vote, are, for Flavors of Reality, Connectome, a Portrait by Alexander Lemans. For images, The Illuminated Hippocampus by Christy Lee Smith. For videos, The Glass Menagerie by Dmitry Kamel. And for open science creations, Burger Mandalas by Alberto Arturo Vergani. I want to say congratulations to all of the winners, and let's give them one more round of applause to all of them. The Brain Art SIG is a growing interdisciplinary space at OHBM, and we're always looking for new members, artists, neuroscientists, and everyone in between who want to bridge science and art. To stay connected or stay involved, follow us on social media or visit our website. And to all the artists, volunteers, and supporters, thank you. You've helped make this year's exhibit another success story. Thank you.
Yes, that's me on the picture. I'm not sure about the hair, but for the beard, for sure it has grown a bit whiter. I'm Sylvain Baillet, I'm the council chair for this year, and thank you so much for being present, not only at the meeting, but at the closing ceremony. It means a lot at leadership. Last year you may remember that my first words as a chair-elect were in the form of a stand-up show I was trying with the crowd in Seoul, and it was the beginning and the end of my stand-up career. So tonight, I'm going to make a more formal speech, but coming from the heart still. So as we come to the close of the OHBM 2025 here in Brisbane, I would like to start with a personal anecdote. The first OHBM I attended was actually the first OHBM annual meeting ever, Paris 1995. And this was actually 30 years ago, I just realized that. So I was just starting out as a graduate student in Paris, still trying to find my footing, and that meeting actually left an indelible mark on me, and that's probably why I'm speaking to you today as the current chair. It was much smaller as a meeting, of course, but still very impressive, and it has this something eclectic and electric about it. And electric about it. And one thing I remember very vividly, among many other things, is David Van Essen, a major figure in our field, of course, who was deep in a discussion with students in front of a poster that he was defending or presenting, if you will. Not in a closed room with other luminaries of our field at the time. Seeing Vince Colloon at this very meeting, running around with a poster tube on his shoulder a couple of days ago, makes me feel that we are still in a good place in that respect, with everyone involved in the science mission and communications mission of this meeting, regardless of the career stage. Fast forward 30 years later, today, just a few days ago, I was stopped in one of the poster aisles by a young woman. She introduced herself as the soon-to-be grad student of Alex Wiseman, who trained as a postdoc in my lab in Montreal a few years ago, and who is starting a new lab at Simon Fraser University in Vancouver. And she told me how thrilled she was by the welcoming, collaborative spirit and atmosphere of the meeting. It was obviously the very first annual meeting of OHBM she was attending. So basically, everything you convey as a community is basically echoes and reverberates with every other meeting of this community over the past many years. But in this particular circumstance, it struck me that the circle was closing as far as I'm concerned. But more than that, it's not just a circle closing, it's a wheel that is turning forward. The spirit of OHBM that blends openness, mentorship, and shared discovery has endured and grown over the past 30 years. More people, more data, more ideas, more diversity in the methods we used, more perspectives and lived experiences, but the same beating heart, science through collaboration and communication, not competition. It has been an immense privilege to serve as the chair of the organization this past year, and with the support of my colleagues at Council and now friends, and together with the Executive Office, and all of you, of course, we experimented with a few things, some new, some not so new, some ambitious, some more modest, but always with one goal: to preserve and amplify the spirit of our community. Even in uncertain times like today, as we see in the world, even as challenges grow more complex, we have kept collaboration and consensus at the center of our approach. As always, I leave the meeting with a head full of ideas as a scientist and as an attendee, and a phone full of pictures, of posters and slides that I will definitely go back to decipher properly back home, eventually. Maybe. This meeting, for sure, offers a very rich and inspiring panoramic view and snapshot of our field at a given time, moment in time, our tools, our questions, and the incredible breadth of what we seek to understand about the brain and behavior. That said, I would like to leave you with a gentle recommendation as a colleague. With the rise of large data sets, data-driven approaches, and yes, AI, though not only AI, we seem to have entered the great age of map proliferation, brain map proliferation. I am sure many of you noticed, as I did, that the number of brain maps per slide or per poster has, to say the least, escalated over the past years. And that's true of this meeting as well. I even saw a slide, actually, in one presentation with about 300 maps, and I am still recovering from that experience. So let us continue to innovate, but also to reflect. More maps do not always mean more meaning, and I know you know that, but I think it's important to reiterate. Multiplying maps is not the same as multiplying or growing knowledge. Let us challenge ourselves. Not only to show results, but to ask hard questions. What do these methods help us understand? What mechanisms are we uncovering? What deeper questions are we now able to ask? So before I hand over to our brilliant co-chair of the local organizing committee, Michael Breakspear, who needs no introduction, by the way, as the incoming chair of OHBM, I want to say how impressed I have been also by Brisbane as a city and as a community. I was last year, I think 14 years ago, and the city, I think, has changed and grown with such grace and vision that I find very inspiring for many metropolitan areas around the world. From my thoroughly jet-lagged non-expert's perspective, it feels like a model of thoughtful urban development. And finally, a heartfelt thank you to the Brisbane community, to the Australian chapter of OHBM, and to all who help bring this meeting to life with your warmth, your energy, and your patience. With OHBM 2025, we have truly tested the resilience of this city, I think, not just in its infrastructure, but its nightlife, especially after club night, and consider this our stress test ahead of the 2032 Summer Olympics. You passed. So with that, I wish everyone safe travels back home, wherever your home is. Stay creative, stay resilient, and stay curious despite the current geopolitical storms. I hope to see you all next year in Bordeaux, France. À bientôt donc, à tous et toutes. And please join me in welcoming to the podium brilliant neuroimager, top modeler, and surfer extraordinaire, and next council chair of OHBM, Dr. Michael Breakspear.
Wow, I want to meet this guy. Sounds more impressive than me. I am wearing two hats. First of all, the local organising committee co-chair. Lena, after very many months of hard work, organising all the meetings, working with Beth and other members of the executive, finally came down in the early hours of this morning with a fever, allowing me to waltz in and take all the credit. So very heartfelt thanks to Lena. Where do I go next? So the next, before I give my summarising comments, we're just going to look forward to where we'll be next year in 12 months, or just a little bit under 12 months.
Bonjour et bienvenue à Bordeaux, a city where rich history blends seamlessly with modern energy. Every corner tells a story, with 362 historic monuments, some dating back to Roman times. After Paris, Bordeaux is the city with the most listed monuments in France. In Bordeaux, the art of living is celebrated at every turn. Here, we take our time, we enjoy the culture, traditions, which can be elusive to the untrained eye. Bordeaux is one of the most walkable cities in the world, featuring one of the longest pedestrian shopping streets in Europe, Rue Sainte-Catherine. The Bordelais love spending time outside, in the city's numerous green spaces or along the quay, taking in the architecture, enjoying the cafes, or exercising. While France is renowned for its old world charm, some say its science predates even some of the buildings found here. But it's not all antiques and relics around here. The various research institutes of Bordeaux are changing the narrative. Is it okay? The vibrant community here has some amazing things to offer, including but not limited to conferences with live music. Wow! Vast campuses, great French food, amazing machines, brain scans, and dedicated colleagues. Join us at OHBM 2026, where the spirit of Bordeaux meets with the pulse of cutting-edge research. Come and enjoy the architecture, the food, the culture, and the science. Je sais pas pourquoi je m'emmerde, ils vont passer leur journée dans le centre de conférence.
Wow, this looks like we're going to have a lot of fun, hey? Just in closing remarks then, I'd like to thank the outgoing council, Tianzi Chang, the past chair, Amin Pret, the past secretary, Christophe, the past treasurer, Stephanie Forkel, the program chair, and Sophie Volk, the past education chair. And then rotating from being the council to now being the past council, Sylvain, Hiromasa, Inat, Marta Garrido, and Jean Chen. So thank you very much for your wonderful journey. So now it gives me great pleasure to announce your council-elect, Angie Shi, who many of us saw give a brilliant keynote the other day, is our chair-elect. So congratulations, Angie. Oscar, our secretary-elect, Tonya, our treasurer-elect, Christian, program chair-elect, and Ting, who will be the education chair-elect. So welcome to council, and we look forward to you joining us as we uplift the scientific and personal journey of the society. Thank you. So in the last few minutes, I just want to reflect a little bit on the last 5 days. Marta has done this absolutely beautifully, so I'm not going to try and draw out a scientific journey. So these are a number of snapshots that each of us will take variations of home with us. We have talks and posters. There's Felicity with her daughter Ava. Keynotes, bottom left. I hope many of you would have seen not just the beauty of the surrounding Brisbane, but maybe outside of Brisbane. The art that we just heard of, friendships, new and old, yarning with Mac and his gang there in the poster session, and then of course club night and other social activities enjoyed by many. So what do these represent in different ways? Oops. They represent sharing knowledge, and we heard about the importance of the open science community, but reflecting in the last 20 years where open science is now very much part of our DNA, talks that are on Jupyter, education sessions on Google Collaborator notebooks, data that's available, and code behind the science that's available. Sorry for my voice, I was actually dancing at about 3 o'clock this morning. Health and country, which is very important. We had up to 80 people jogging in the morning, sitting around yarning, friendships, as I said before, creating and dancing. So to go back to the opening ceremony where we heard from Auntie Marucci welcoming us to the ancestral lands of the Turrbal people, we often think we are in very modern times, and that we're doing science somehow differently. And it's true. I mean, I love the scientific method and the community, and it often feels very new and a great way of steering our world forward. But I found this beautiful Indigenous artwork by Brooke Sutton. She's a young Kalkudan woman from the Emu province around Mount Isa in northwest Queensland, and she was commissioned this work for a Brisbane-based organisation. And so this is her, in Sylvain's words, this is another map, and this is probably the last map that we'll look at. And this is, from my learning of Indigenous culture, a story about how people come together and how people interact. So I'll speak of a few elements, but you're encouraged, if you're interested, just to Google Brooke Sutton and you'll find this artwork. So what we have in the circles are known as yarning circles, and so you can see the habit and the tradition of people sitting around in a circle and sharing knowledge and sharing ideas and creating multiple interacting yarning circles, each with a sort of sense of cultural safety and cultural protocol and sharing different types of knowledge. And then you can maybe see running through on the diagonal, so maybe these are some of the open science and other special interest groups, the ECR and the Brain Art SIG. The emu foots, which you can see coming across here, represent people travelling from other country. So Aboriginal people always welcome other Indigenous mob onto their country. So this would represent visitors to Brisbane. We see in the top right elements of the forest and other elements of the coastline, the Brisbane River, and so elements of nature and living on country. And then, of course, here is a bunch of young Indigenous people getting together and having a good time. So I want to leave with this notion that despite of the very many different ways we do things as humans, and despite of, modern imaging technology being very different from other types of mapping, painting country with ochre and doing dance, that marvellously when we work together to do better as the sum of our parts, we find ways of self-organising in common underlying methods of wisdom which promote all of these things, including diversity. So this is a way of, I hope, bringing together the very wonderful experience that we've all had in the last 5 days at OHBM. And on behalf of other members of Council, we look forward to Bordeaux in just under 12 months' time. So thank you. Time for a beer.